Do you think this is easy for me either? Having to say all these things to you, somebody I just met, and knowing how crazy it all sounds, and knowing, understanding even, that the last thing in the world you want to do is believe me? Byron stopped, shook his head. There was bitterness in his tone. And why would you believe me? I mean, why would anyone believe any of this? Lucy couldn't do anything but stare. She watched as he crossed to the other side of the room, as he began pacing slowly, back and forth between the fireplace and the door. That night at the cemetery, Byron's voice was low. Try to think, Lucy. Try to remember. But still Lucy sat there, paralyzed. Remember when I told you that something had been passed on? Byron asked her. At last she managed a nod. This gift you have, I think it was passed on to you from the girl who died. I suspected it, but I wasn't really positive till you picked up the necklace in class yesterday. As if from a distance, Lucy heard herself ask, I don't understand. Not about any gift, not about the necklace. It was her necklace. She never took it off. So I know the only possible reason she did was to leave a clue behind, to try and tell me who killed her, to tell you who killed her. No, wait a minute. This is too much. This is... True. Byron paused and shot her a level glance. It's true, and no matter how much you want to forget about it, you can't. You have a responsibility now. You have... A responsibility to who? Lucy's voice went shrill with anger. I don't have any responsibility to anybody. Not to you, not to... She had powers, Byron insisted. She had powers nobody understood, and most people didn't believe in. And she used them for good, and she used them to help others when she could. But at the same time, she suffered for them her whole life. And now she's given them to you. Lucy's lips parted soundlessly. For a second, Byron seemed to recede into some black void, then reappear again at the side of her chair. She could sense things, he said urgently. See things that had already happened, sometimes even things that hadn't happened yet, by touching. Do you understand? Lucy shook her head. She wished he would stop talking, would leave, would just go away. But he knelt on the floor in front of her, where she couldn't ignore him. It didn't happen every single time. That's not the way it worked. But when it did happen, it was very powerful. She could never anticipate when the visions might come. Sometimes they came from a person, sometimes from an object, just some little thing you'd never even think about. Again, Lucy shook her head. So these visions she'd have, what were they exactly? He stared at a spot beyond her, deep in thought, choosing his words carefully. When she tried to describe it to me, she always said there weren't complete pictures, more like quick images or feelings, sometimes colors or smells or sounds. She said it was like all her 5 senses had been peeled open and raw, and they just kept absorbing all these impulses with nothing to protect them. His focus shifted back to her. Lucy saw his face through a fine mist and realized that tears had filled her eyes. Oh my God, she whispered. Yes, it is like that. You mean, like when you held the necklace? Without answering, she began to rock, a slow, gentle rhythm of self-comfort. Why do you go there that night? Byron asked quietly. Lucy shut her eyes, tried to will the pain away. Please tell me, Lucy. And so she did, recounting every moment from the time she'd left the house till Angela picked her up and took her back to Irene's. She told him everything, still feeling as though this were all some strange, distorted nightmare, still wishing she'd wake up, safe and warm in her mother's home, still wondering why she was taking a chance with this mysterious young man she didn't know, why she was here trusting him and believing him, and in some painful way, feeling so grateful for his company. And when she'd finally told her story, she realized that he'd taken her hand, spread her fingers wide apart, was gazing down at the tiny crescent scar upon her palm. She had a scar just like this, he said, not meeting Lucy's eyes. In the same spot, on the same hand. It hurt, Lucy acknowledged numbly. When she grabbed me, the pain I felt was unbearable, not like anything I'd ever felt before. Nodding slightly, Byron placed her hand on the arm of the rocking chair. I was supposed to meet her that night. She'd been away, and I hadn't seen her in nearly a year. Then I got this message from her, just out of the blue. Something important, she said. She told me to come alone. She'd be waiting at the old church. I could tell from her note that she was really scared. Only, she never showed up. So, I just happened to be walking past there at the same time? I think the person following you that night was me. Byron rocked back on his heels, his expression thoughtful. I'd just gotten to the church when I saw you running away, and it was storming so bad I couldn't really see anything. For a minute I thought it might be her, so I went after you. But then you turned under the streetlight, and when I realized it wasn't her, I went back. And that's when I ran into the cemetery, because I thought you were stalking me. I should have known it was something bad. Byron's eyes were as hard as his voice. When she didn't show up on time, I should have left right away. I should have looked for her then. But I just kept thinking maybe it was the storm. She was having trouble getting there. But that she'd be there. Just 5 more minutes. She'd be there. He paused, drew a sharp breath. I don't think I wanted to believe it, even when I got in my van and started driving around looking for her. I didn't want to believe something had happened to her. And that's when I saw you again. Me? You were coming out of the cemetery, and you ran across the street to use the phone. And you looked terrified. Lucy's heart gave a sickening lurch. How easily those feelings of terror returned, just from talking, just from remembering. She watched as Byron stood up and walked to the window. He propped his hands upon the sill and leaned forward, his shoulders stiff with tension. I knew, he mumbled. I mean, there you were, scared and muddy and soaking wet, and suddenly I just knew. I knew it had something to do with her. For several long moments there was quiet between them. Only the patient creak of the rocking chair upon the wooden floor, the muted songs of birds outside the windows. Until at last Byron spoke again. I tried to get over to you, to see if you needed help, but by the time I got the van turned around, you were gone. So I went back to the cemetery, and I looked for her. Byron's head lowered. I never found her. Lucy stopped rocking. She stared at his back with a puzzled frown. But when I saw you the next morning, the things you said, how could you have known those things if you never found her? If you weren't actually there? Because she told me. Lucy sat straight in her chair. The quilt slid down to her waist, and she impatiently pushed it aside. What do you mean she told you? What are you saying? In a dream that night. She told me in a dream. He turned around to face her. As Lucy held his steady gaze, she slowly shook her head. You know something, Byron? You're asking me to believe a lot. Haven't you ever had a dream so real you knew it was more than a dream? Yes, but... Lucy's voice trailed off. Until that moment, she'd almost forgotten her own dream of 2 nights ago. Her mother at the window, sounding so sad. "But what?" Byron persisted. "I did have one like that," Lucy murmured. "That night, after I got home from the cemetery, my mother came back to me. It was like she was trying to warn me about something." "What'd she say?" Lucy's voice faltered. "She said that I was going to a place where she couldn't help me." Byron gave an almost imperceptible nod. His eyes shone even darker. "So your mother shows up with a warning, on the very night a dying girl touches you and leaves this scar on your hand. Doesn't that seem a little more than coincidence?" "Oh, God." "When I finally went to sleep that night," Byron said tightly, "I dreamed she was in a grave. I saw the storm. I saw her covered in blood. And I saw her reaching out." "But you didn't see who killed her?" "No. She was talking to me. She wanted me to know that she was gone, and that she hadn't been alone when she died. She told me I should go to the cemetery the next morning and wait for someone. And then she said, 'Help her. Now you must help the one who helped me.'" Lucy didn't know how to respond. As Byron fell silent, his sorrow seemed to fill the room. Yet at the same time, she sensed his own defenses struggling to pull it back. "So, what you're saying," she stammered, "is that I have these powers now, and I'm going to start having visions and feeling things I don't want to feel just because I touch something?" But when Byron didn't answer, Lucy's tone grew almost pleading. "Are you absolutely sure? Are you positive it was her? I mean, maybe she didn't even show up that night. Maybe she was never here in town. Maybe it was just some girl you didn't know, who just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time." "Lucy, stop," he said tightly. "But it could have been, right? I mean, it could have been a mistake, and maybe she's still alive somewhere. Maybe She's not alive." "Then where's her body? Where's the grave? If she's really dead, you would have found her. You would have found something." "Lucy, stop." His voice struck out at her, cold and final. "There are just some things you know, because every part of you feels it, because you have a bond with somebody that's special and unique. And she and I had that kind of bond. So, no, it wasn't a mistake." He raked a hand back through his hair, his face twisted in pain. "She's dead, Lucy. She's dead." Lucy's heart ached at the sight of him. "You really loved her, didn't you?" she whispered. A muscle clenched in his jaw. He turned stiffly back to the window. "Yes." "So, she was your girlfriend?" "No. Katherine was my sister,